Before it was a world-famous restaurant, the Inn at Little Washington was just a rundown gas station in a town with fewer than 200 people. Now the rural Virginia eatery is celebrating its 40th anniversary. Jan Crawford sat down with the chef and founder. She's at the restaurant in Washington, Virginia. Jan, good morning.
Well, good morning. So this is where the magic happens. And you know, in a world where diners are always searching for the next hot thing, it's hard to imagine someone maintaining a standard of excellence for 40 years, much less celebrating that milestone at the home of one of our founding fathers. But Chef Patrick O'Connell has never really cared about chasing what's popular, and that's helped him accomplish what most people said was impossible.
At George Washington's historic Mount Vernon, it was a feast for the ages.
You don't turn 40 every year.
Characters, costumes, even fireworks. An over-the-top celebration organized by a man who has always dreamed big.
There is no shortage and never will be of people telling you why something won't work. But if you feel it in your gut, there's a great thrill in going against all the negativity.
70 miles west of Mount Vernon, in an historic town with less than 200 people, Patrick O'Connell arrived in 1978 and turned a former gas station and garage into the Inn at Little Washington.
What was your vision 40 years ago?
Well, my mother always said I wasn't too well grounded in reality. But I say it has served me well.
People thought he was crazy, this local boy who loved to cook but never even went to cooking school. Even his mother had doubts.
She said, now dear, if things don't work out, we could always sell that wonderful granola you make door to door.
Was that encouraging?
I was so pissed.
Instead, O'Connell built a masterpiece. A 2-star Michelin restaurant and 5-star hotel in rural Virginia that attracts visitors from D.C. to Abu Dhabi.
Here we are.
Entering the kitchen is stepping into the middle of a well-choreographed ballet.
We're going to make a little green risotto.
After starting as the Inn's only cook on opening night, when dinner was $4.95, O'Connell now oversees dozens of kitchen staff with discipline and humor.
These snails are fed only basil.
Where do you get these snails?
From a very strange person.
That humor can also be found in the details. Cheese served on the back of a cow.
We just milk it for all it's worth.
And chefs decked out in Dalmatian spots in honor of the Inn's mascot.
Sit.
But what's most remarkable is that O'Connell found satisfaction with what was right in front of him. 40 years in this one place.
All you have to do is whatever you did yesterday, try to make it a teeny weeny bit better today. Then that builds a kind of momentum.
And with success comes pressure to deliver.
Well, nothing's ever perfect. So there are moments when something comes together and you go, yes. And then you look to your left, but that's not right.
But you can at least let yourself have that moment.
Oh, you can have half a moment.
But he's not the kind of tyrannical chef whose employees live in fear. His are like family. Director of Dining Services Neil O'Hare has worked here 25 years, now alongside his sons, including his oldest, Michael.
I think you have to buy in to Chef's vision, and which is perfection, but we're never going to get there.
O'Connell has transformed this little town, renovating dozens of historic buildings, many that stood when George Washington first arrived here as a teenager. 4 decades spent bringing an impossible dream to life.
Dream the dream, you can always scale it back. Otherwise, you lose your ability to dream. You know, fairy tales can come true.
You've transformed a place and created a beautiful experience.
Not without sacrifice. You have to be willing to give something up in order to do that. You have to want it pretty badly.
What did you give up?
Life as you know it.
This is your life.
Yes, yeah. So it's not a bad trade.
Now, over 40 years, O'Connell's cooked in this kitchen for everyone from presidents to movie stars. And he said he's not done yet. There are more buildings to renovate, 2 books in the works, and a film project with Virginia Public Media that's going to take viewers through the doors of his kitchen and into this magical world. Gayle?
Jan, I love Chef's philosophy, and he clearly has a great sense of humor and a very infectious laugh.
Yeah. I mean, he was so wonderful to talk to, and
Yeah,
of
I
course
could
you
tell.
can imagine what he creates.
I
Yeah.
could tell.
Amazing person.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Jan. I like his thing about do what you did yesterday and try to make it a little
bit
bit
better
and
each
it gets
time.
better and better.
And if you stay
like
there,
that.
you have dinner, you stay there, and then the next morning they serve breakfast, and it's like fresh baked croissants and like all these jams and jellies and
Sold.
just
Yeah.
fabulous.
Sold.
Fabulous.
I like it, Nora.
Yeah.